Hi, this is Richard Murray with another session of Parking Lot Theology. I want to continue on what we talked about before. I ended the last video with saying that we would talk about a very important word, and that word is subtext. It's a word that many people, I took Bible study courses for years and I never heard that word. But let me tell you where I did hear the word and where I first heard the word, and it's kind of a funny story. I was an actor in college. I had planned to be an actor and majored in drama my first 2 years until I discovered something. And what I discovered was I'm not a very good actor. And the way that I discovered it was when we would do practice for plays, right at the beginning of the, right before we would start rehearsal, we would sort of do readings of the script, whatever the script was, and then try to understand our characters better and maybe bounce ideas off each other and that sort of thing. And as I read these scripts, I realized something, that I didn't know anything about what my character was really like. The thing about a script that's different than other writings is that a script doesn't really tell you what's going on the inside of the actor, on the inside of the character. And it leaves it to the actor. That's really what the skill of the actor calls for, is to understand what the actor's motivations are, what he means by a certain sentence, and what's going on within his heart. Well, I realized that at that time in my life, I was very emotionally shallow. I could act emotional on the stage, but I didn't understand my left from my right when it comes to anything that required a depth of analysis and a depth of understanding. I was very emotionally shallow. So I quit acting, and that was the only ovation I ever got, was when I quit acting. But I have to be honest about this. I got interested in acting about 5 years ago. Not that I was interested in doing it again, but I was interested in this method acting. That basically American actors are well known for, particularly Broadway stage actors. And that's when you come in and you incarnate the character. British stage acting used to be known for pretending. That was basically their whole acting style, is you pretend to be the character. But along comes the Stanislavski and other actors, acting teachers, who taught a different way. They taught a method of incarnation where you actually get into the character, become the character, and then you find motivations you didn't even know you had because you've incarnated the character. And as I was meditating on that, I said, man, that sounds like Christianity. We incarnate Christ. We don't just try to pretend to be Christians. We actually we have the Holy Spirit in us, and we incarnate Him. So anyhow, as I studied all that and studied Stanislavski, Konstantin Stanislavski is his name, I discovered a major term that I had not really been very familiar with, and that term is subtext. And subtext is the idea that on the surface of any writing, we would call that the text. And you read that, the plain meaning, and you read it just on surface appearance and then form your hasty conclusions about it, and don't really give it much thought, or you don't penetrate into it and try to get underneath it. That's the way I was back in college. I couldn't get underneath the text. I tried, but I couldn't. I said, what does this guy mean when he says this line? I have no idea what's going on in him. But subtext says that you can go underneath and incarnate the issue at hand, incarnate what's going on in the story, and draw a moral from it, or a philosophical insight, or an epiphany from it. Ernest Hemingway would use this example to differentiate between text and subtext. Text is the part of a glacier. Visualize a glacier out in the ocean. And the text is the part of the glacier that we see above water level. But subtext is the biggest part of the glacier, which is underneath the surface of the water that we can't see. And Hemingway likened that to subtext, that a good writer he uses the text, but that's just the crumbs of what he's writing. What he's really writing are the spaces underneath and in between the text that cause your heart to become engaged and look for deeper, fuller, richer, truer meanings, and to draw morals and symbols, archetypes from, so that you can live your life in a better and more informed way. So that's what subtext means. And I think if we apply it to the Bible, we have been so dumbed down to read the Bible just for the text. You don't ever hear anybody ever use the word subtext. It's the rarest of things, and yet it's the very thing that any writing that has any profound meaning, that the meat of it is in the subtext. So we'll talk more about that next time, but I just wanted to expose you to the idea of this most important term called subtext. Thanks.